Allow me to offer a very warm Jamaican welcome to all our viewers near and far. I am Janine J. Cool-Coombs.
And I'm Joel Motor. It's our pleasure to be your hosts today for this virtual concert. Jamaican composers salute Ludwig van Beethoven. And what better prelude could we have offered than young Jamaican piano protege Caleb Young, performing the opening phrases of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata at the illustrious Round Hill Hotel in Montego Bay.
Thank you so much, Caleb. The future of classical music in Jamaica is looking quite promising. Now, we are inviting you to the lush lawns of the historical Hope Botanical Gardens here in Kingston, where Jamaica's premier violinist Stephen Woodham will serenade you with the fantasy on the theme "Fimi Love Have Lionheart," written by Jamaican composer Peter Ashburn and based on the intimate folk song "Fimi Love."
I now have the great honor of delivering a message from His Excellency, the Governor-General of Jamaica, Sir Patrick Allen. Music is an essential tool created and used by people from all walks of life. Music therapy has been used in hospitals because its healing qualities have been proven to aid in the reduction of pain. Jamaica's world-renowned musician, Robert Nesta Marley, proclaimed, "One good thing about music, when it hits, you feel no pain." The pleasure is mine to encourage Unites Jamaica Foundation on its annual celebration of outstanding Jamaican composers. I commend you for devising this medium to continue your annual events despite the challenges created by the COVID-19 pandemic. As you join the worldwide celebrations to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the birth of the German composer Ludwig van Beethoven, I use this occasion to congratulate and encourage the emerging cadre of Jamaican musicians and composers who will use this platform to further showcase their talents. Ode to Joy, which is the finale of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, expresses the universal yearning for the unification of the human race, a sentiment which is embodied in our national motto, "Out of many, one people." I wish for all an enjoyable evening of musical inspiration.
The composition you just heard for Elise was performed by 15-year-young Jamaican pianist Alan Barant, student of Mrs. Angela Elliott from the Music House. It was filmed at the majestic ballroom at King's House, the official residence of the Governor General of Jamaica.
A fitting setting for this very popular composition by Beethoven, Janine. Für Elise is such a beguiling work that it's customary for piano players all over the world to study it. Pressing forward, please allow me to warmly welcome His Excellency, Dr. Bernd von Münchau-Pohl, the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, who will bring us his special greetings.
Ladies and gentlemen, the famous piano piece For Elise, which we just heard, ranks among the most iconic works of what we have come to know and love as classical music. Its composer, Ludwig van Beethoven, was born in the German town of Bonn exactly 250 years ago. This special anniversary program, put together by the Music Unites Jamaica Foundation and sponsored by the German Embassy, celebrates the musical genius of one of Germany's greatest sons. It is, for the most part, an homage to Beethoven by modern-day Jamaican composers, featuring their own compositions and the influence he had on their work. Music is a most fundamental human expression. It reflects our deepest emotion. It can reveal the innermost layers of our mind and soul. It speaks to us across the ages and across continents. It appeals to our shared humanity and unites us regardless of culture, creed, class, or color of skin. The German Embassy is proud to be part of this special Jamaican tribute to Beethoven, which I hope you will enjoy as much as I will. Thank you, and God bless.
We wish to sincerely thank the German ambassador and his team for their contribution and collaboration with Music Unites Jamaica Foundation in making this concert come to fruition.
Herzlichen Dank, Ambassador von Münchau-Pohl. By the way, Janine, were you aware that there's still a big mystery surrounding the inspiration for Beethoven's beautiful Bagatelle 25, Für Elise? Was it written for Elisabeth Rockel, Beethoven's lifetime friend? Or was it written for Thérèse Malfatti, a woman to whom Beethoven proposed in 1810, the very same year he composed Für Elise? It's entirely possible that the handwriting faded and the dedication was misinterpreted. Do remember, in those days, composers wrote with ink and feather by candlelight.
Yes, indeed. You said Beethoven proposed, but did he end up marrying their Thérèse?
He did not.
Oh, dear. The second Jamaican composer whose work we'd like to highlight now is Michael Sean Harris, a wonderful tenor in his own right and successful music educator. Michael wears many hats. He's also an author and podcaster. His composition, This Longtime Gal, for tenor and MIDI-controlled vocal processor and looper, also features the gracious dancer and choreographer Neela Ebanks.
Hi, I'm Michael Sean Harris, and this composition is based on a Jamaican folk song called This Longtime Gal. It employs several of the compositional techniques that I've learned from Beethoven from my involvement in choirs over the years and also from playing piano as a child.
This long time, yeah, me never see you. Come make me hold your hand. This long time, yeah, me never see you. Come make me hold your hand. Peel head, jump crop, sit down pan tree top, pick up the blossom. Make me hold your hand, girl. Make me hold your long time, yeah, me never see you. Come make we walk and talk. This long time, yeah, me never see you. Come make we walk and talk. Oh, peel head, jump round, sit down, a tree top, pick off the blossom. Make we walk and talk, y'all. Make we walk and ooh, 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 ooh. This long time, yeah, me never see you. Come make we wheel and turn. This long time, yeah, me never see you. Come make we wheel and turn. Oh, peel head, jump round, sit down, tree top, pick off the blossom. Make we wheel and turn, yeah. Make we wheel this long time, yeah. 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 Till we tumble down. This long time, yeah. 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 This long time, yeah.
Incredible work. Dear viewers, this concert we're presenting represents the grand finale of Phase 1 of Music Unites research on Jamaican composers of classical, patriotic, and sacred music. This phase was made possible by the vision of the Honorable Earl Jarrett, CEO of the Jamaica National Group, and a grant from the JN Foundation. This groundbreaking research project is spearheading the movement to document and celebrate our Jamaican composers, all of which can be followed on our website, musicunitesjamaica.com. We are greatly appreciative and thankful to the JN Foundation as we now bring you an empowering message from the esteemed General Manager of the JN Foundation, Miss Claudine Allen.
It's my pleasure to congratulate the Music Unites Jamaica Foundation on its virtual concert today. The Jamaica National Group and the JN Foundation are happy to be associated with the work of Music Unites Jamaica. We commend Rosina and her team for their efforts to expand our awareness of Jamaica's musical heritage through music workshops and free concerts across the country. Not only has this work improved public awareness of Jamaica's musical history, but the initiative develops talent by sourcing scholarships and providing instruments for students who are experiencing financial constraints. The JN Foundation, the philanthropic arm of the Jamaica National Group, is also committed to contributing to the developmental needs of Jamaica. We are therefore happy to partner with Music Unites Jamaica on its latest initiative to undertake research about Jamaican composers. This project aims to have Jamaican students and the general population more informed about the historical importance of Jamaica's first documented composer, Samuel Felsted, and other notable Jamaican composers. We are also delighted that the music lecturers will integrate this information into the music curriculum so that more Jamaican students can learn about our musical history. This rich body of work is an important gift to the Jamaican people. Kudos, Rosina. As our national hero Marcus Garvey said, a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Indeed, this is true. However, this project will give us backstories and the anchor on which we can grow our roots. We are pleased to have been a part of such a project, and we are excited about the stories of the Jamaican composers which are now on the Music Unites Jamaica website. And very soon, it is all going to be captured in a handbook. The Jane Foundation and the Jane Group wish you all the best in this virtual concert. We are confident it will be a thrill for everyone.
Next, I'd like to introduce the very experienced broadcaster and self-leader coach, Elaine Wint. She'll read for us the introduction of the composition by one of Jamaica's great female composers, Eleanor Alberga. Mrs. Alberga expressed the wish to become a concert pianist at age 5 when she first began to compose music. Later on, she joined Dr. Olive Lewin's legendary choir, the Jamaican Folk Singers, and became the pianist for the very active Operatic Society while studying at the Jamaica School of Music. In the year 1970, Eleanor Alberga was awarded the West Indian Associated Board Scholarship, which allowed her to study at the Royal Academy in London, the city which later became her second home.
I'm Elaine Wint, and I'm very pleased to introduce to you the Eleanor Alberga String Quartet Number 2. Eleanor has sent her introduction and her greetings from London, as she's unable to be with us for this presentation. She writes, Beethoven has been a hugely positive influence on my musical life. I learned many of his piano sonatas as a young piano student and studied or listened to his symphonies, concertos, and other works. Later on, when I performed his Piano Concerto No. 4 and some of his late sonatas, I began to realize just what an original figure he was. I became aware of how he was always breaking new ground and was particularly amazed by the syncopations in Piano Sonata, Opus 111. His work encouraged me to always try and find my own voice as a composer, as he so heroically did, despite more than his fair share of slings and arrows. Most of what I learned about sonata came from Beethoven, and in my second string quartet, I chose to write in one movement, a condensed sonata. All the material for the piece comes from the opening bar, and as this exposition material develops, contrasting sections such as scherzo and adagio emerge without a break. There is counterpoint both in line and in rhythm, and the music closes with a driving presto finale. I think this quartet has a touch of the liveliness, beauty, and vivid memories of Jamaica that are often the well springs of my work. And it is very exciting to be part of this virtual concert, returning my music to the landscape of its birthplace. And now, the Eleanor Alberga String Quartet No. 2.
Eleanor Alberga's String Quartet No. 2 was performed by Ensemble Arcadiania, with Thomas Bowes playing violin 1, Oscar Perks violin 2, Andre Caluste viola, and Jonathan Svensson on cello. It was commissioned and premiered by the Smith Quartet in 1994 for the Greenwich Festival in London. The next musical item on our program will feature the renowned Jamaican concert pianist, Paul Shaw. He often recounts the tale of his mother giving him a toy piano as a child, which first awakened his gift. He would go on to study at the Juilliard School in New York, where he gained 3 degrees as an outstanding piano scholar.
As a Steinway artist, Paul Shaw has performed extensively in the Americas, in Europe, and Asia. Regrettably, the concert during which this slated new composition by Paul Shaw was supposed to be filmed was postponed due to the COVID pandemic. Therefore, we will now feature Paul Shaw's performance of Come Back Liza, which he recorded in recognition of the Jamaica 50th celebrations in the year 2012.
On August 6th, 2012, the island of Jamaica celebrates 50 years of independence from Great Britain. Stay tuned as I commemorate the occasion with piano transcriptions or my own reminiscences of folk songs I learned as a child growing up on the island. Every time me memorize what a common life. Every time me memorize what a common life. Come back, Liza, come back, yeah. What a common life. Come back, Liza, come back, yeah. What a common life.
We would like to take this moment to thank our sponsors for their generous support in making this production possible. The Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany, Kingston, Chase, working for you. The Jamaica National Foundation, Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports, Bridget Sandals, Genuine Leather, JMMB, Joan Duncan Foundation, Round Hill Hotel, Osterjam, Great Land, Great Produce, S Hotel Jamaica, Montego Bay, Couples Resort, Jamaica, UNESCO Creative City of Kingston, the Gian Group of Companies, Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, Jamrock Jingles, Rising Sun Plant Nursery, TTN Media Services, What's Up New York, Filmica, Hope Gardens, Nature Preservation Foundation, King's House Jamaica, the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, the Ashe Company, Jacobs Agro Limited, located in Seattle, Washington, and Form and Motive. Thank you for keeping Music Unites Jamaica Foundation's vision and missions a reality. Now back to the presentation.
The most exciting aspect of this virtual concert is that it offers us the opportunity to feature Jamaican composers from the diaspora, as well as their works. Our next musical gem hails from as far as Australia, Sharon Calcraft. Sharon Calcraft left Jamaica at the age of 14 and lives as a highly successful classical composer in Sydney, Australia. Before she dedicated her life towards composing classical music, Sharon worked extensively in the theater and as a film music composer and lecturer.
Her composition, titled Aquifer, is written for electroacoustic harp and prefabricated electronics and was dedicated to the Australian harpist Alice Giles. It was first performed in concert at the Albert Hall, Canberra, for live broadcast and aired on ABC in 2014. However, this performance we're presenting here features Alice Giles in concert at Dan Grove, Sydney, under the auspices of Judith Nelson. In regards to the title, an aquifer is a water-bearing rock that readily transmits water to wells and springs. The underground water in aquifers is one of the most important sources of water on Earth. Let us now listen to the profound words shared with us by composer Sharon Calcraft.
I'm delighted to join Jamaican composers and musicians from around the world, and of course, those of you on the Rock on this special celebration of Beethoven's 250th birthday anniversary. Apropos of this, I'd like to share a few thoughts about a conversation the 52-year-old Beethoven had with the young 22-year-old violinist and composer, Louis Schlosser. I'm imagining that Schlosser must have been quite a courageous young man, and it's good for us that he made this pilgrimage from Darmstadt to Vienna, as the recorded conversation is both revealing and heartening. As was common at the time, for Beethoven was significantly deaf, even profoundly, the conversations were written down. He spoke, but the questions and answers had to be written down in quarto-sized books. There are fragments of the conversation with Louis Schlosser that mean quite a lot to me as a composer, in that when I first read them years ago, I thought, yes, that's true for me somehow. Here are the fragments of that conversation in 1822, or some say 1823. I carry my thoughts about with me for a long time before writing them down. I change many things, discard others, and try again and again until I'm satisfied. It rises, it grows. I hear and see the image in front of me from every angle, as if it had been cast like sculpture. Then only the labor of writing it down remains. I must add here that for me, this is often significant labor. Going on with Beethoven's thoughts. Where do I obtain my ideas? I can't answer that with any certainty. I may grasp them with my hands in the open air, or while in the stillness of the night. Stimulated by these moods which poets turn into words, I turn my ideas into tones which resound, roar, and rage, until at last they stand before me in the form of notes. These words of Beethoven's are matchless. I couldn't possibly do any better in trying to describe the metaphysical act of writing music. It is so very mysterious. There is a question which is often asked regarding Beethoven's impaired hearing and his ability to compose. How could he write music, people ask, if he couldn't hear it? And while there is still much debate as to the actual extent of his deafness, some musicologists say that he still had some hearing in his left ear up until shortly before his death in 1827. There is the matter of the inner ear, the correspondent to the inner eye, the eye of our mind. We sometimes say, I saw it in my mind's eye. Similarly, there is the inner ear. I heard it with my inner ear, the ear of our mind. And that's what composers do. We hear with our inner ear, and that is what I'm sure Beethoven relied on, his inner ear. Mahler talked about the frustration of hearing with the inner ear, but struggling to find the physical tones. He said, I hear it in my inner ear, geistigen Ohr, or mental ear, but how to find the physical tones? This is our wrestle as composers. It is our agon, our contest to find the physical tones that we hear with our inner ear. It's comforting to know we are in good company. We turn our ideas into tones which resound, roar, and rage. I'm very pleased to be able to offer my piece Aquifer for electroacoustic harp and prefabricated electronics, written for the incomparable Alice Giles. The performance you're about to see and hear was in concert at Dangrove for Phoenix Central Park, Sydney, Australia.
Our feature on Jamaican composers is now returning home to the Rock. We'll now witness the premiere of Peter Ashbourne's piano composition, The Colin Man at Linstead Market, which is based on 2 Jamaican folk songs.
It has become a trademark of Mr. Ashburn's composition to take initial inspiration from the inspiring pool of Jamaican folk melodies. Joel, you might be familiar with the mournful song Linstead Market. It expresses a desperate market woman's sorrow, not being able to earn enough to provide dinner for her children. In contrast, the song 1, 2, 3, 4, Kalamana Come is very comical. It recounts the story of a young Jamaican who went far away to work in the Panama Canal. Upon his return, he started behaving bossy. As the song goes, he had a gold chain with a big clock hanging around his neck, but when he was asked the time, he had to look up at the sun.
A real juxtaposition of 2 tones. Without further ado, let's hear the introduction of the composition The Colin Man at Linstead Market by composer Peter Ashbourne, in his own words.
I am honored to be able in some small way to pay tribute to Beethoven through my own small composition, knowing how much of a genius he was. As a child and aspiring violinist, I frequently found myself performing at those interminable tea parties, where my first encounter with Beethoven was probably his Minuet in G. My composition, The Colin Man in Linstead Market, was actually written in 2006, but is being premiered today on this concert. The piece juxtaposes 2 stories from Jamaican folk music, one humorous and one sad. And my treatment is what people nowadays might call a mashup. Have fun.
are now traveling from Jamaica to Taiwan, where our next featured Jamaican composer and conductor Ted Runcie resides.
We're delighted to present to you first Mr. Runcie's elaborate statement on Ludwig van Beethoven.
Before I begin, I'd like to thank Christina Möder and the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany in Kingston for making today's concert possible. I recall, as a youth of about 12 years of age, hearing Beethoven's first two symphonies for the first time. I recognized something familiar in them. In the first symphony, I heard the mastery of counterpoint, the logical development of the musical argument, and a great forward momentum similar to Mozart's late symphonies. And yet, I also felt that the material and the turns of phrases nodded to Haydn. The music left me with the impression of an adolescent who, although resembling his parents, was suddenly half a head taller than them. The second symphony deepened this impression. Even though, like the first symphony, it was a masterwork, I had the distinct impression of a very muscular and ill-at-ease young man, dressed in a suit ripping at the seams that his father had probably worn 30 or 40 years before. But then, in the third symphony, Beethoven changed the discourse, not least of all with its length, the size of its forces, its form, its content, and its energy, but also with the mood, tone, and voice. Even though I was a very young person, I recognized that Beethoven had come into his own. After the third symphony, Beethoven, this giant among composers, could have been content to repeat himself for the rest of his career, as so many other composers at the time were wont to do. But Beethoven was hewn from different stuff. He went on to create myriad original and iconic works, such as the unforgettable Fifth Symphony, the Sixth Symphony, a masterful piece of sound painting done within traditional forms, the spirited Seventh Symphony, the mysterious Eighth Symphony, and the mighty Ninth Symphony, in which the ever-innovative Beethoven included soloists and a chorus. I've not even mentioned his groundbreaking opera Fidelio, his piano sonatas, his string quartets, the concerti, and other chamber, choral, and orchestral works, all highly inspired and exquisitely crafted. Is it wonder, then, that all who came after him were intimidated? Today we can see the debt that composers such as Brahms, Schubert, Mahler, Bruckner, Wagner, and even more recent composers such as Shostakovich and Stravinsky owe to Beethoven. The music still speaks. The music still speaks eloquently to people of our time, 2 centuries after him. Concert programs around the world testify to this. But the image of Beethoven also lives on, the virtuoso pianist, the composer, the man who lived through great adversity and who, despite deafness, composed masterworks until his final days. Beethoven, the indefatigable craftsman, the free artist, still inspires me today.
And now we are all ears for Ted Runcie's introduction, as well as the performance of his composition, Winter Evening.
Today, you will hear a piece that I composed more than 12 years ago. It's the first of 4 short pieces for cello and piano called Winter Evening that I composed on a winter evening in 2018 after a dinner party with close Russian friends in Taipei, Taiwan. So the piece is a sort of character piece, or an Albumblatt, which was meant to memorialize my impressions of that evening. Of note in the piece are the singing cello line and the shifting rhythm in the bass part. It has been arranged for cello and tuba by today's performers, Desiree Abbé, principal cellist of the Manitoba Chamber Orchestra in Canada, and Chris Lee, principal tuba of the National Arts Centre Orchestra.
We have almost reached the end of our musical journey in featuring Jamaican composers. Next, we'd like to present a work by a member of the younger generation. Jamaican composer, pianist, choral conductor, and music lecturer, Andrew Marshall. He studied at the Northern Caribbean University in Mandeville, as well as in the United States, where he presently resides. Let's hear a few words from Andrew Marshall about Ludwig van Beethoven's influence in his life.
My name is Andrew Marshall, and I'm a musician. I've appreciated Beethoven's music ever since my early years studying the piano. One of the first pieces I learned outside of examination and assessment purposes was Furlies. Later, when I studied the piano in college, a part of my senior recital was Beethoven's Piano Sonata in C minor, and I recall that presentation fondly to this day. I admire Beethoven for his innovative spirit and his new and fresh ways in writing music. I join with Music Unites Jamaica today in celebrating this very special occasion in remembering this wonderful composer.
Andrew Marshall's composition, We Are One, which is actually the finale of his chamber opera, Heart Talk, offers a timeless message of yearning for the unification of the human race.
So many of us are familiar with the poem Ode to Joy by Friedrich Schiller, which Ludwig van Beethoven integrated in the first ever choral symphony, his ninth and final symphony. It is probable that Beethoven was losing his hearing during its composition between the years of 1822 to 1824. It seems to be the case that he was fully deaf at the time of its premiere.
The Ode to Joy, declared almost 200 years ago, calling all people to become brothers and sisters, we can only hope humanity will understand one day. But the good news is that the title alone of our next composition gives us hope. Please allow us to present We Are One, written in the year 2012 by our Jamaican composer, Andrew Marshall.
This performance was recorded remotely by members and friends of the Jamaica Choral Scholars in the difficult summer of 2020. The members sang their parts in their homes and places of work.
We wish to highly commend the dedicated effort by the Jamaican Choral Scholars to have recorded We Are One, composed by their founder and conductor, Andrew Marshall, during these challenging times.
I've witnessed many things in my country, in all my years in this land.
And what is plain to me more than anything is the discord between my fellow men.
Last but not least, let us welcome the founders of Music Unites Jamaica Foundation, Rosina Christina Moder and her husband, Peter Ashbourne, performing for us the touching Jamaican peace song, O'er Our Blue Mountain, composed by the late and great Clyde Hoyt.
After their rendition, Rosina will offer her vote of thanks, followed by a surprise encore, which she is to announce. It's our great pleasure to have been your host for this virtual concert.
Jamaican composers salute Ludwig van Beethoven.
In the spirit of this beautiful song by the late Jamaican composer Clyde Hoyt, over our blue mountain descends this bright angel song. To you and all mankind comes peace today. We sincerely wish that the message of unity and peace has reached out to all our viewers and listeners, near and far. I'm Rosina Christina Moder, co-founder and executive director of Music Unites Jamaica Foundation, and it gives me great pleasure to express our sincere thanks to each and everyone who have assisted in big and small ways to make this, our first virtual concert, become reality. I sincerely hope that I will not overlook any of those amazing helping hands, and please forgive me, and see if we have listed you under credits which will be shown at the very end of the program. I have to admit, as challenging as it is to undertake the organization of a virtual concert, it has so many incentives. Alone that, and forgive me that I will get for a moment very personal. My family back home in Austria, first and foremost, my daughter Sandra with her family, my sisters and tons of cousins, and so many of our close friends from South Africa to Japan are able to be virtually present. They all, like the entire audience, had the great opportunity to enjoy the amazing compositions by these outstanding Jamaican composers, Eleanor Berger, Sharon Calcraft, Ted Runzi, Paul Shaw, Andrew Marshall, Michael Sean Harris, and Peter Ashbourne, most of whom are residing outside of Jamaica. I also wish to thank all the performers in the videos sent to us, as well as the Jamaican artists, soprano Carlin Waugh, violinist Stephen Woodham, pianist Alain Barant, Stephen Shawnard, dancer and choreographer Neil Eubanks, and the Jamaican choral scholars. And last but not least, pianist Amanda Johnston, who will perform with Carlin our encore selection. Elaine Wind also came on board and read Eleanor Berger's message in her impeccable style. A very heartfelt thank you to the Governor General of Jamaica, His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, for his encouraging message. And also to the German Ambassador, His Excellency Dr. Bernd von Münchow-Pohl, and his team, Sarah Azadan at the helm. Thank you. Without the close collaboration and sponsorship by the German embassy, this concert would not have been possible. We are also grateful that we have received part sponsorship from the Ministry of Culture here in Jamaica, Esirom, and the Gion Group of companies. We thank King's House, the Hope Botanical Gardens, Miss Elaine Wind, as well as the Edna Manley College for allowing us to film in their, for us, very ideal locations. The media companies, first and foremost the Public Broadcasting Corporation, Jamaica Television, have been assisting us very much. We thank you. A concert of this intercultural caliber could not have taken place without the dedicated work of the hard-working crew of our production and technical teams, which we have listed individually in our upcoming credits. But a special mention, of course, goes to our very eloquent hosts, Janine J. Cool and Joel Moder Ashburn. All members of our teams have been working very dedicatedly to offer the quality needed for this, for us, so important showcase of Jamaican composers saluting Ludwig van Beethoven in the year of the 250th anniversary of his birth. As a musician and music researcher, I wish to interject here that we actually do not know the exact birthday of Beethoven, but we only know his day when he was baptized, which is the 17th of December, 1770. Well, in the tradition of the time, babies would have been baptized on the third or fourth day after being born. So possibly the day, December 13, could have been the anniversary of Beethoven's birth. Who knows? Last but not least, this concert could not have been planned without the information gathered throughout several years of research. During phase 1 of the project, we were able to research Jamaican composers of classical, patriotic, and sacred music, thanks to a grant by the Jamaican National Foundation. We wish to thank the Honorable Earl Jarrett, CEO of the Jamaican National Group, and his team at the JN Foundation for sharing our vision by offering the grant for phase 1. They also have been committing to provide funding for phases 2 and 3 of this research, during which we will focus on Jamaican composers of music for film and media, theater and dance, including the Jamaican pantomime, as well as jazz. As you all can imagine, that a grant can only cover the main parts of a research. So we are continuously seeking funds for covering the monthly operating costs for our non-for-profit NGO, Music Unites Jamaica Foundation. Therefore, we are calling on kind individuals and companies out there to offer donations, which can be sent to us via PayPal, which is listed on our Music Unites Jamaica Foundation homepage under our email address, musicunites.jamaica@gmail.com. That is musicunites.jamaica@gmail.com. And now I would like to announce our very special musical encore. Another composition on our opening Jamaican folk theme, Fimi Love, Have Lion Heart, also composed by Peter Ashburn. And this time very beautifully sung by Jamaican soprano Carlin Moore, accompanied by Amanda Johnston. Thank you.